In Las Vegas before Saturday night's rematch, a shoving match broke out even before the two fighters started answering questions. And when they did finally take to the microphones, those hostilities remain.
When I found you, you was strung out on coke. When I found you, you was like a big house contemplating about killing yourself. So don't you ever forget who brought you to big time box. How many times you dreamt about the 12 round?
Never.
Because that's the only thing that y'all can promote. Hello? Can you talk? Cat got your tongue?
The so-called biggest puncher couldn't even keep a man down in the 12th round.
Yeah, but this time around, you ain't getting up because I brought my 6-foot-inch nails and I bought a big hammer from Alabama, baby.
All right, I have been looking forward to this all week to get Max on here to talk about it. Max Kellerman, no one is more inside on this stuff than he, and obviously First Take is coming up in 17 minutes. So Max, these guys come off, certainly yesterday, as having genuine animosity towards each other. Do you feel like that's real?
Well, yeah, the emotion is real because the fight is drawing near, but I don't get the feeling like these two guys naturally don't like each other. And I also got the feeling like some of that was promotional. You know, Deontay Wilder kind of shoved Fury, but it was like a little love tap. And then Fury came back at him, and it was like, Deontay's not the type of dude to get shoved in the chest and do nothing about it, you know? It was almost like, okay, now it's 1-1. So I think that the emotion is real, but it's not that it's staged, but they understand that they're selling a fight. I will say this, Greeny, I've never heard someone get the better of Tyson Fury in a verbal exchange. Deontay Wilder did in their press conference yesterday. He seemed to be the guy who had the psychological upper hand, which I'd never seen before. Even when he said, I brought you to big-time boxing and this and that, Tyson Fury responded properly, but it was sort of meek. You didn't really hear it. What he should have said forcefully is, Deontay, I beat Vladimir Klitschko, the champion for 10 years for the championship. You beat Bermane Stavern, who wasn't a real champion for your belt. And I beat you the last time around. When I got up, I should have gotten the decision. But he didn't say that kind of stuff, and Deontay was really aggressive, and I felt like won that little psychological battle, which I've never seen a guy do against Tyson Fury.
All right, so that's fascinating. So let's then take that to the next step. In your experience, which is practically unlimited, does that matter? Does that psychological advantage carry into the ring Saturday night?
It can. I have seen it happen. You know, we hear like, oh, this athlete or that athlete was distracted. Well, what does that mean? Oh, I've seen promotions where there's chaos around a fighter, he didn't know how to deal with it, and I went into a fighter meeting thinking fighter A was going to win, but when I saw the chaos, I came out thinking fighter B is going to win. I wouldn't say I feel that here. I wouldn't say that Tyson Fury here is sort of intimidated in such a way that it'll affect whether or not he wins or loses. He's planning on doing something very brave, which is rather than box Deontay, where he had a lot of success in the first fight from long range, but that also gives Deontay with those long levers opportunity and space to throw his big right hand. He's going to crowd Deontay. He claims he wants to move the fight to the inside, where he's a more polished fighter than Deontay, and muscle him and try and knock him out. If he has the guts to actually do that, because he's fought his whole career another way, that would be amazing. But Greeny, even if he doesn't, because he didn't do it in the first fight, this fight shapes up as a 50-50 fight on paper, and it's a rematch of a dramatic, excellent heavyweight championship fight.
No question. And Wilder knocked down Fury in the 12th round, which probably is the reason that he winds up getting a draw in a fight that a lot of people thought Fury otherwise should have won. What do you expect to be different this time?
Well, the thing about Deontay is he always finds his man. I'm watching the first fight with people saying Deontay's going to knock him out in the 12th round. Eventually he's going to land that right hand. It's over. And he did. He found him, and he knocked him out in the 12th round. Anyone else? No, look, he's out. No one gets up from a Deontay Wilder right hand, but this dude did. And by the way, that's why people started calling him the Undertaker. Who gets up like that, right? So what changes this time around is really, for Deontay, is really Tyson Fury's game plan. If he chooses to box again, we will see largely the same fight we did the first time. And the question is, if and when Deontay catches him, does he get up? And we should have a great rematch. If Tyson Fury's true to his word and brings it to the inside, we may get something even better. Maybe Deontay has a better inside game than we know, or has thought about it and has figured out a way to create space. Or maybe Tyson Fury really does muscle him and it works. Like, this is one of the most intriguing prize fights with two guys in their primes, undefeated heavyweight champions with the marbles on the line in their primes. Not Mayweather and Pacquiao 5 years too late or something like that, or even Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir's an old man. No. In their primes, both undefeated in a rematch for the championship. It does not get better than this.
That's correct. It's a night that boxing doesn't give us often enough, to exactly the point you just made. So as a final thought, I guess I would ask you, how important a night is this for the sport? We'll see what happens. How big a night is this for the sport that you love so much?
It's a great ad for the sport if it delivers, right? Because people will be watching. But I got to tell you, Greeny, as much as boxing's dependent as like golf or tennis is, individual sports, on the star power of individuals, there are systemic differences in the sport now where it's less reliant on any one fight, you know, the rising tide lifting all boats, because of our investment and other media outlets' enormous financial investments in boxing, and therefore our interest in covering the sport and mainstreaming the sport. It's actually less dependent on a night like Saturday night than it has been in the past.
All right, it's going to be great to watch. Thank you so much for doing this. And again, he's sitting in the ring.
Greeny.
These guys are going to be doing First Take from the ring in just a couple of minutes. All of this in advance of Saturday night. It is Wilder Fury 2. Deontay Wilder defending the WBC heavyweight title for a record 11th time against the lineal champ. Saturday night, 9 Eastern, live on pay-per-view and ESPN Plus. To order the main card, go to espnplus.com/top-rank and be sure to download the ESPN app if you're watching on your mobile device. And again, Max and company, First Take, 10 minutes from Vegas. Max and Stephen A. discussing whether they like the NFL's proposed new playoff format. Is Giannis a lock for MVP? And they look ahead to the fight. All that and more. It's 10 minutes away right here on ESPN.